Hey everyone, my name is Shriram Santhanam. I'm a chief cyber officer at a not so startup, it's a growth company, human managed. It's based out of Singapore. They are a data platform specializing in, in a few stuff, cyber ops primarily, and then into other business problems. My experience has been in cybersecurity for the last 15 plus years. I've been in the tech industry for little over quarter century. So, I mean, I'm dating myself, but really excited to talk about the topic today and be associated with this esteemed panel of attendees and guests.
Hi, I'm Smriti Motwani. I am a VP of Strategy Ops and Go-to-Market for AI software and platform at Cisco. I have spent almost 20 plus years also in first 10 years with a startup that got acquired and did a lot of go-to-market, sales, account management, and the next 15 years mostly focused on the product and the engineering side. Before Cisco, I was with Palo Alto Networks, really drove the scale for Palo Alto Network. We were around 5,000 people, scaled to almost 18,000. So a lot of my focus has been on the ops and scaling side recently with product and engineering org.
Scale, scale, scale. We gotta hear that. Parisa Naseralavi, I'm the Chief Operating Officer of XOPS. It's an AI platform that is and will be looking at autonomously scaling IT operations, HR operations, and finance operations across the enterprise. Prior to this venture, I was at ServiceNow for 5 years when it was around 4 billion, and prior to that, VMware. Prior to that, 19 years at Cisco. So intersectional strategy, digital transformation, and operations is where I get really excited. So I'm really happy to be here with you, Jigna.
Okay, thank you, guys. So we'll start with you, Parisa, because you have the mic.
There you go.
So we've talked a lot about scaling AI. In a way, it equals democratizing. I think we talked in one of the prior conversation. And when we talk about scaling AI and democratizing at an enterprise level, there are so many different use cases that demand a lot of different types of outputs, accuracy. And I think Puneet talked a lot about, the costs going up if not managed and governed. So what strategies have you used to ensure that, we continue to have the guardrails, but continue to give the freedom to innovate and democratize AI?
It's a great question. So obviously, if you want something used, you've got to democratize it, and you've got to make it easy for people to really be able to get value out of it. And I hate to say this, but we've been, over the last decade, it's almost been IT project after an IT project. And I think the AI will really democratize truly. Hey, you can actually use it to make your work better. Now, with that, there is definitely an operating model and governance that you mentioned. And I think given the fact that if you don't set up a data governance layer around who gets access to what gets actually done in AI, and you start thinking about that after you've actually launched it, you're in trouble. So what we've dictated and what we're doing, and we're sort of drinking our own Kool-Aid, is that whole data governance, who gets access to what work can get done, what work can't get done, is really closely managed as you're building that out. And then, you classify the data and classify the data access and what can be done as well. And you let people use it, make it easy for them to use, and you iterate on it. And we've not noticed if we've done that really works. When you make it a PhD project, when only the select few can use it, you only have yourself to blame that people are not adopting it. That's been how we've approached it. Are we moving down, or are we just?
No, you can. I think Shriram, did you want to add something?
No, just wanted to add something, right? So whenever I hear democracy, people always equate that to anarchy. So I just want to make sure that you want to democratize, not create an anarchy in the company, right? So just wanted to mention that.
Okay. I think you can keep the mic. Maybe we'll go to the next set of questions to you, Shriram, and then come to Smriti. Data obviously is very crucial to how AI works. Without good data, there's really not much value out of AI. But data can also have a lot of mishaps, right? We've all experienced in our careers, the data disasters sometimes that happen. And in the world of AI, there could be so many of those that can occur. So as a security professional, what guardrails have you put to solve the problem of avoiding data disasters?
So again, working for a, a data platform company, this is really near and dear. Of course, I'm fairly new. There are some existing best practices that we have come to use. But one thing to, again, when it comes to AI in general, as well as when it comes to data in particular, um, uh, the data security problem in AI is a lot more about just the data itself, but it has to do a lot with the context, because the risk increases tremendously in terms of what the data is being used for and what models or agents have access to the data. And it also boils down to the governance that is associated with those respective systems, right? And in general, one of the approach we have taken is, instead of treating things as independent components, take a system-based approach, right? So whether it's the data sets or the models or the pipelines that have access to the data, so treat the whole as a system, because the risk, the characteristics of the risk changes very much when you take all that into account, all the entire context into account, and that's the risk-based approach that has been proven to be very successful for us.
Okay, thank you. So continuing on that topic, Smriti, I think one of our founders, Shiva, I suppose, talked about the shadow AI, right? And I think that is a very big concern. You give open the gates, and people have freedom to go upload things and download and use all sorts of LLMs. I know Cisco is working to find a way to solve that problem on how to get visibility and also prevent bad things from happening around what is called the shadow AI. Do you want to talk about what you guys are doing there?
Yeah, sure. So I know I would put this in two categories, right? Third-party apps. So this is more focused on where employees can download things, and you have to sort of keep an eye around as to how that is going, and that Cisco has a secure access service. And then we are more focused on the first-party apps. If you are actually building your own, and how do we make sure that that is safe and secure? So the product that we have recently been working on is AI Defense, and it does something similar. So where you could actually, they're focused on ensuring from a safety perspective, it's hallucination or things like that would fall under hallucination, or things like you could that's safe, like you could do prompt injections and things like that. So having that section, we are focusing there, and then on the security side of it. So that's where we are focusing on for AI defense.
Okay, AI defense. Okay, so did you want to add anything on the shadow AI?
I think that the shadow, one thing that I know, it sounds really boring, but really, as you're negotiating and building AI tools, the third-party vendors, when we're negotiating contracts with anyone who has AI tool, we actually build it in our contracts. That is no train, no retain policy. And it sounds really, really basic, but you'd be amazed how many companies I've spoken with who don't even ask for that. We actually tell them, hey, we're not going to train, we're not going to retain your data. They're like, oh yes, thank you. Yeah. How many others have you signed where they have that? So so for some of the founders, I would really also really encourage you to really almost play defensive with your customers, because they have an aha moment 6 months after the deployment, and they're asking questions they should have. So I'm seeing both sides of the story. So prepare for that. And some of the big players, the Fortune 100s, they have a legal team that is just ridiculously large, just focusing on that. So get prepared for the 100-odd questions they're going to ask around that particular question. And some customers completely don't ask that question. So you're going to face both. So just FYI, we're experiencing that in a good way. We're prepared, but I'm just quite shocked how many customers are not.
Okay.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
So again, having been part of the security team, right? So Shadow IT and Shadow AI was always, I always took it in a negative connotation. But now that I work for a fast-paced company and in a smaller setting, one thing I realized is Shadow IT or Shadow AI is not always rebellion. It's an indication of unmet demands, right? So there are definitely something that you need to explore, right? So is there a better way, instead of just saying no to everything that your other business teams might be doing? look at what they want, and maybe make it. That's where governance comes into play. You can actually say yes in a safer and maybe a faster way to turn things around, right? But this was like a revelation to me when I looked at things, right? That's actually not a bad intent, or it wasn't actually a bad use case. It's just that they didn't have a proper way of doing it, and they had to go around, right? So that's another.
Yeah, and then we are also encouraging everybody to adopt AI. Right. So that's exactly what they're doing, right?
Course,
so they're doing what we are asking them to do. So I think we'll stay with you, Shriram. I think as AI scales, we all know things could and would go wrong, right? Could be, some data got trained, our proprietary data got trained to, got used to train a public model. Could be the prompt injection was, sabotaged, or the AI agent sabotaged the shutdown. I think we talked about that in some of the pitches. So disasters like that or incidents like that would and could occur. So what, as a CISO, what is a typical incidence response when something goes bad at scale?
So again, there is a typical answer, right? So again, it's always there is a incident response playbook that most large companies do, and even it's actually required as part of compliance requirements as well, right? Certification and so on. But when I'll skip that, right, and come towards the context of AI, right? So in many cases, I honestly feel. This is a personal opinion; it may not resonate, but I feel that in the case of AI, an incident may not be an outage, right? It could be a bad decision that happened as part of your AI-enabled system, whether it was a model drift, it happened over time, or it could be an agent that made a decisioning mistake. So understanding, again, the same incident response principles apply here. You still go and look at what failed, what decision was wrong, contain it, right? And obviously have fix what went wrong, and obviously address the issue. But I'm not sure if I understand the question fully. But I think it's just that I feel like it's more of a bad decision as opposed to a failure in today's systems.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it could be, as you said, right? Like maybe there's a human backup that could take over. It could
definitely.
It could be like a combination of how do you prevent more damage from occurring by stopping or blocking that, right?
No, absolutely. So again, a human in the loop or a human escalation should definitely be part of
Right.
the resolution, right? So that's definitely one of the aspects. But
yeah, I think one of my recent stories that I ran into, I was calling a call center for some issue related to my home mortgage, and the AI agent was just going in a loop. It would just not take it. And then I think the most important thing for me to know was the hack of how to get to a human to talk to, right? So sometimes it's that too, right? Like when things go wrong, and it was so silly, but at that time that saved me, right? Like how do I just hack this thing to get me to talk to a human. It's so anyway, I think we'll continue the conversation. I think one of the things that we have to do to scale AI is the whole evolution of going from traditional testing that we have grown very, very sophisticated with, right? I remember the days when I was an engineer. I used to test my own code, and then we had like new testing and QA roles got created, and then we had a lot of testing automation, and then we had continuous build testing, and there's so much of sophistication that went about it. And I feel like we are in that evolution with AI, with the red teaming strategies, right? So I would love to hear from the panel on what type of strategies, tools are you using to, do the red teaming at scale. And, it's a very, very new area. I hear a lot of new products have got launched by Meta and Google and all in this space. So how are you guys using it? I think it could be at a very nascent stage where, maybe we have to just start with the basics. So what do you think?
So one thing I think is, instead of looking at red teaming as a just at one component level, whether it's a model, because we did right. So I went through some of the stuff that was done at my company. It was originally done at a model level. They used to actually test the model input, output, and so on. Eventually, it evolved into testing the entire platform, right? So it's not just about it's about looking for data poisoning. It's looking for prompt injection attacks. It's looking for model drift. It's looking for pipeline issues, right? So it's across the board. And then at the end of the day, I feel again, we use tools from Anthropic, we use tools from Google, we use tools, different tools. I don't want to go into that, but in general and principle wise, right? So one thing is, it's not it's not once. It's not done once, or it's not a phase. It has to be continuous. Right? So, and then at the scale we are talking about, it cannot be manual. It has to be automated. It goes without saying. And then it should just be a part of normal process of promoting to production, right? So it's not something that it should be weaved into the change management process. It's not something that is inserted in. It should just be a normal part of moving anything to production. So that's what I would say.
Okay. I think when we talk about, we're just talking about the product that we were talking about. What we are doing is, when we think about the first party apps, we actually look at what is this. So back to I think we just secured, Jungle Secure just talked about it, discovering what's out there. Right. That's one. Second is around detecting or validating and really doing the vulnerability analysis on what's vulnerable. Some of the red teaming work goes into that. And then the third element is, okay, how do you recommend protection of it? So there are those three elements, core elements, as we are thinking about building that AI defense product. Those are the three that we have been focused on.
So it's a continuous life cycle
from discovery to detection, vulnerability, red teaming, all the way through protection.
Okay.
I mean, maybe perfectly said by both of you. Maybe just one additional add. Most of the things that we see is just not proper work done around the data. So treat data as a product. Because otherwise you're just catching a lot of stuff in the end. So a lot of time and money and effort should be going into the model data that is ingested. And if you get that right, you really do have a front starter. So you're catching less at the tail end on testing. But as you know, we used to do red testing. It used to be called negative testing before. Now it's called red testing. Tomorrow it'll be called purple testing. But essentially trying to break it.
Yeah,
it's wonderful to find stuff. And I think we should encourage it. So as you find stuff, really encouraging a culture of, that's great, we found like 50 things. It's really like an antibody to most engineering teams to have things found out. Reward them, like reward. And then you're like, okay, by the time it gets to customer, it's bulletproof. And I'm a big fan of more deterministic AI. So plug for our company. We do want to get more reliable things, because certain functions need to have completeness and accuracy, and so have that mentality as well, right? That you are the governor of the quality of what you're building. So whatever you can do to expand the scenarios and the use cases, please do that, because I think it will show in your product that you deliver to your customers.
You know, one fun thing that I did at Cisco when we were scaling our, the Gen AI capabilities for customer support was we launched a bug bounty program. Yeah. And it was like $100 reward for anybody who finds a new defect, which is acknowledged by the engineering team, right? So it is not logged already by somebody else, and if it's a new thing you find.
How many did you find, by the way?
Oh, I was actually going to
$100.
Yeah, a lot of $100. I was about to go over budget actually on my rewards budget. So that's how it was. So I think it just was a little bit of a cultural thing that really helped, and injected a little bit of a fun in the process, and the competitive spirit, right? That way everybody felt that they became part of that process and contributed. So I think one of the things about AI at scale is that you need both, right? You need the builders, but you also need the people who can break what is being built. And I think that's the powerful combination. Okay, so I think we started talking about the human aspect of it. So maybe we'll, go to that next. So how do you guys, with the deployment of AI and adoption of AI at scale, there is a natural potential anxiety that is generated in the employees and the teams around potential displacement of their roles. And so how do you help them overcome that and foster the culture where they can still adapt? And I think I shared one of my stories, and I would love to hear, like, similar stories if you have to share, because I'm already interested in, like always, like looking for creative ways to do that. Sure.
So again, one thing is AI. I mean, it's just being transparent that AI is going to change everybody's roles, right? So there is no two ways about it, right? So, but one recent good example is as soon as I joined, right? So I was actually, and this story also was published by the company on the LinkedIn. Was that there was this recent grad who was doing marketing, and she did all the great video production that they had in terms of podcasts and interviews and all that stuff. But she felt like she was the odd person out, because everybody else, it's a smaller company of 150 people. Pretty much everybody is technical. Everybody is a builder. Everybody is doing something technically, and she felt out of place, right? And then even though she was doing amazing work as a marketing person, but she with the help of AI, was able to transform her role, right? So she actually started not only creating the content for like marketplace listing and stuff, she actually started integrating some of the listings in the market, AWS or Azure Marketplace and so on, and started building things like with the help of AI, right? So again, as long as people are clear about what their roles are going to be and how they can leverage AI, and you provide a path for it, I feel like that would definitely calm down the anxiety and the general malaise that's associated. But yeah, that's just one anecdote I thought would be worth sharing.
Okay.
I think we always say, I don't think it's going to take away jobs. It's just that it'll 10x your output. It'll probably refocus you on the scope of the problem. The problem may be smaller, and now you're thinking about a bigger problem. So it's anywhere between 10x to 50x. So I am bullish, and I also feel that everyone, the differentiation is going to be the folks who are leaning in versus the folks who are leaning out. So for everything we do, we got to figure out, we have to learn. This is an amazing time, because I feel it is the plane is level set in some ways. Everyone can start. There are no experts. I mean, there are experts, but a majority of the people are all figuring it out. Like I've been on EBCs where C-level people are asking us, hey, what are you thinking? Because they are figuring out the world is changing. So it's all about learning. We have to double down, and I am bullish about it.
Okay.
I have a lot of passion on this question, and I'll tell you why, because I've been on the receiving end of technology, okay? We've led functionals, be it sales operations, partner operations, sales support, customer success, basically a lot of the operational functions. And throughout the decades, hey, this technology is going to do amazing things for you. Okay, great. Tell me what it can do. And then I'm still 70%, 80% manual. I think that the best thing that you can do to get people on board is to improve the actual process, make it better for them. So I really feel bullish, and I agree that there is an incredible opportunity, but for the first time, really engaging the users. This is not a technology for the sake of technology. It's like, hey, user, you're doing 50 things that are manual, of which where I need you to be really giving me strategic insights and foresight and recommendation. If I took 80% of the stuff away, what would you do with that time? I think the functional folks that are actually executing those processes would welcome it. They love it. They want the promise met. So for me, the opportunity is actually fulfilling that promise finally, not partially, but finally. So how do we take any activity that doesn't have core output for them and have them move up the stack? So I do believe there's an incredible opportunity. I think it is on the technologists, i.e. us, to really bring the users in, and they are the judge of goodness. And I think they'll wholeheartedly welcome it. I think this is the time.
Okay, great. I think we'll wrap up and open up for Q&A. Just one last one-word answer only from all three of you. Mm-hmm. What is your one secret weapon to scaling AI? Just one word.
Outcome.
I still think collaboration, especially when we talk about data, it's going to bring it together.
Okay.
Value, the business value, the outcomes.
Okay. Thank you.